Today's main objective is to solve inequalities using addition and subtraction. So it's a lot like if I had an equation that said x plus 2 is equal to 5. I'm going to subtract 2, subtract 2, and I get x is equal to 3. It's the same concept as that, except now we're just dealing with inequality signs. So here's my equation right here. I want to solve it, so I want to find the solutions, that's solving, and then you need to graph it. So if I have my x minus 15 is greater than negative 12, the first thing I want to do is get rid of this minus 15. So in order to get rid of minus, I have to do the opposite, so I have to add 15, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So again, same thing as when we have an equal sign. So now I have x is greater than negative 12 plus 15 is going to give me negative 3. So now I have my inequality. Now I want to graph it. So once I graph it, again, I only really care about the point that's in the inequality, so negative 3. When I look at my symbol, if it's or equal to, it would be solid, but since there's no line underneath, it's going to be open line or open circle. And it says x is greater than, so any number that's greater than negative 3 would give me a true statement for my inequality. And again, since my symbol is pointing to the right, then my arrow should be pointing to the right. So same thing here. I have subtract 5, so opposite of subtract would be add. So whatever I do to one side, I want to do to the other. So I have n is less than negative or positive 2. Because negative 3 plus 5 would give me a positive 2. And when I graph this, I'm going to have my point is at 2. It's going to be an open circle because there's no line underneath my symbol. It says any number less than 2, so it's going to be pointing to the left. And again, since my symbol's pointing to the left and my variable's on the left-hand side, then it follows that pattern. Right now I want you to pause the video and attempt to solve and graph both of these equations. So now it's the same concept, except now I'm dealing with adding instead of subtracting. So if I'm showing that I'm adding a number, so I'm adding 6 here. The opposite of adding would be subtracting, so I want to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. So I'm going to have t is greater than negative 10. Negative 4 minus 6 will give me a negative 10. And then when I graph this, my point is at negative 10, and I have to think, should I have an opened or closed circle? That's right, I should have an open circle. The reason is because there's no line underneath my symbol. And since my symbol is pointing to the right, I should keep on pointing my symbol to the right. Now for my next problem below, I'm going to subtract 12 first because the opposite of adding is subtracting, and I want to get rid of this 12. So now I have negative 13 is greater than or equal to y. And I'm going to graph that, and I'm not going to switch the equation. I'm going to test points. First thing I'm going to do is figure out, okay, should this be an opened or closed dot? That's right, it should be a closed dot. Why is it closed? Because this symbol has an or equal to sign on it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a number on the left-hand side, so I'm going to pick negative 15, and I'm going to pick a number on the right-hand side, and I'm going to pick negative 10. And I'm going to plug both of those into this equation. I'm going to see which one's true, because that's going to tell me which way to point my arrow. So for my first one, I would have negative 13 is greater than or equal to negative 15. Or else I'm going to have negative 13 is greater than or equal to negative 10. And then I had to think about this for a second. So is negative 13 greater than negative 15? So I'm dealing with negative numbers, so even though 15 is larger, negative 15 is smaller, so that's true. So I'm going to test my other one. Is negative 13 greater than or equal to negative 10? So again, I'm dealing with negative numbers, so I have to think opposite. So no, that's not true. So I'm going to be shading to wherever there's a true statement. So I'm going to be shading towards negative 15. So that's going to be to the left. The other way you could have done it is to rewrite this equation right here. And so it would say y is less than or equal to negative 13. So then it would look like our previous one. Make sure you fill out the Google Doc form and submit your answers. Have a great day.